All right, welcome to another episode from the Chart Reader. So I'm going to look at four on this one. We'll look at SOFI, SOUND, BBAI, and KULR on this one. I can tell you I know what three of these four look like. I don't know what KULR looks like, so that one will be a fresh set of eyes and thoughts. But SOUND, BBAI, and SOFI are looking solid today, all right? What I'm going to be looking for outside of their individual needs is going to be the NASDAQ, all right? And I'll talk about that a bit more, not N, I could have done N, but we'll go comp Q. NASDAQ actually had a doji today, all right? Clearly over the lines, obviously well over the golden line. This is not bad, right? But when we look at the S&P 500, that was a lot more solid of a candle. That was a lot nicer of an answer to the doji that we saw last week. This is what I was really hoping to see NASDAQ do, right? When we look at the Dow Jones as well, one thing I talked about on my last couple videos was, look, the Dow Jones was the worst of the three major indices, right? At the three I just looked at. The Dow Jones is what was holding back and really started to bring a little downtrend of its own to the NASDAQ and the S&P 500. Both were running all-time highs. This just what, month and a half, right? Look at that. Basically from month and a half, from early December all the way down to middle of January. That slowed things down, and now all of a sudden, look, I know I say it on the silly little tickers that we look at, red could become a nice green for a big monster $44,000 index, right? And as I zoom out, that's really all I'm seeing is a lot of nice fast up reds, down greens, back and forth. So Dow Jones actually knows how to do it, right? Green was red, quickly green, red. You see it, right? So I am hoping that we see a little bit more at this point. I'm hoping that we, right, that we get to that. I guess we're still a little under that. But yeah, 44,100. That's actually, I think I would want this next. 44,200-ish, almost 300. Regardless, you get the point, right? So I'm hoping this does it one more time. I'm hoping S&P 500 does it one more time. And it actually is confirmation, right? Doji and one more, that's not two that count. That's only one that counts. Same with the Dow Jones that I just passed by, right? That's the first nice good candle over. I do not want to fall back down to 43,800, right? I want that confirmation, and then let's go retest all-time highs. That's what a sustained uptrend looks like. And if that happens, it'll be really hard for NASDAQ not to do the exact same. You know what I mean? But so far it's looking the same, just not quite the candle that we wanted. But MACD's looking all right. RSI is looking better. Give me one more. And yeah, that green over red will come back in the positive. And hey, 50 to 80 is a lot of room, right? So I'm liking what I'm seeing on the indices. And then really, when we get into the stocks, there's not too much to say, but it's a lot of good to say, right? Back over the moving averages, setting back up on the lower indicators there with SOFI. SOUND able to hold the 50, making me all of a sudden believe we want to come to the 20. You break the 20 and all of a sudden we're going to keep going right back up, right? BBAI, this is actually trying one more time to get back over all the moving averages and keep going, right? I've talked about it a bunch, and you know I'm going to talk about it again. This is a very important line. Look, I realize we're over the line. There is a difference between over and broken, all right? So we need a little bit more to believe we've broken the line, but man, we're so close, right? And then KULR, I would have liked a little bit more, but look, right now I want to believe that we're going to break the 8 and come to the 20. I think 305 is going to be the goal, but yeah, we're still struggling with the 8 just a bit, right? You can see it. We're trying. Today was a good try, but yeah, I think we need just a little bit more there, all right? So I will give you more shortly, but before we do go any further and I give you more of my thoughts and opinions, what are we going to do? Same thing we always do, right? We'll take a look at the daily and the weekly to see how these things are setting up short term. We have our 5 moving averages. There are horizontal support and resistance lines that I do draw manually myself. And then when we are done up here, we'll use the MACD, RSI, and volume as our lower indicators. Hey, really quickly, if you can, please subscribe to this channel. Share this video online with your friends. Comment good or bad if you disagree. Look, anything you can do helps so much with these YouTube algorithms. But for real, just being here, giving me your time, I am so thankful for it. All right, so let's get into SOFI, and there is a lot to like here. All right, I think the one thing that's jumping out at me is all these dojis in the string. Right, we're talking about 5 trading days, and we're basically looking at 3 textbook dojis. All right. One thing I think that I don't talk about often is the fact that I have 4 different candle colors on this screen. All right. I've got a red filled in and I've got a red outlined. I've got the same with the greens, right? We can only see green outlines, but there's a green filled right there, right? So it's for a reason. And I'm just going to show it real quick here. This is clearly a bad candle, right? Day before we closed right here, all of a sudden we're clearly below it, right? What I like about this candle is the fact, and you can look in the box over there. So we open down here at 13 something and then go up, and actually close up here at 14 something, right? It's not quite a monster loss like this one that actually opens here and then keeps going lower and lower, right? That's a bad day. That's actually kind of a good bad day. And sometimes the right good bad day could be a solid signal that the bad is maybe over and there's some good to come. All right, so it's not something I talk about too often. Truth be told, I'm not a candle trader, right? So I know a couple things to look for, just bare bone candles, no lines or anything, but that's a little back pocket thing I do have. And hey, we'll maybe actually make this a knowledge center video for that little nugget right there. All right, but yeah, we have a doji, we have a doji, we have one good candle. Doji doesn't count, right? So none of this is confirmed yet. This is a candle I like, actually. You know, I would have said I like this one too, but you know, it's when you're gapping up 3 moving averages on 2 candles, and neither of the 2 candles is real, for lack of words, right? I always call it doji, like that uncertain kind of in between candle. That's just not enough. And I think that day after doji actually really magnifies that. So hopefully that made sense and I explained it well. But yeah, I like this today candle. I like us getting over the line, let alone what we see, okay? I mean, textbook, we still haven't confirmed yet, and we do need one more, right? I don't want us to drop down to 1750. I think that's actually a very realistic possibility here, right? Hopefully, and I'm zooming out, let's go to the weekly. Hopefully, we're going to continue to that 19 that I have up there next, right? You can see it's on the weekly, but it's red, green, red, green, red, green, nothing, right? So since 2022, we've been well under that 1660 line. That's a monster way to start this week. That's a monster candle. I know it doesn't look like the silly 30% or whatever we see, but oh, that's a loud weekly candle. After I just realized we're in 2025, we were knocking on the door of a 3-year silence, right? Not 2-year. I just forgot the year turn, right? So there is a lot going on with SOFI. I said this earlier on the Discord. Where is it? PLTR. So look, I am not sure if this is insulting to Palantir or not, but I'm seeing SOFI try to do what Palantir did. All right. And what does that mean to me? Look, I do think I think Palantir has a lot more going for itself. It has like government contracts and this and that. That said, though, Palantir, I remember, and you can see it on the weekly, I remember this. I remember there was just a silliness on Palantir, and my goodness, when it finally broke that line that had that 2 years of nothing, it just went into all-time highs and beyond, right? SOFI is almost doing that. It's knocking on the door of the 3-year silence. Just give me a couple more that realistically are just red, green, red, green. Like, I could almost delete this 19 line. I don't think it's worth it, especially because we're looking at a weekly right now, right? But this could do what Palantir did in a lot of ways, which only is break all-time highs and go, right? I think at some point I got to stop making this one the golden and start making this one the golden. But SOFI, I think there's a lot to like. Just looking at the daily and the indicators themselves, right? There is a potential golden cross going on right now. The 8 did golden cross the 50, and today it's over the 20. I like that MACD and RSI. They're both diverging the same way. Diverging just means two lines going away from each other, right? And we like the green going up and away from the red. So that's the same divergence, just starting back into the positive. And a lovely, healthy 60 that can go up to 80, maybe even more. And we saw it in living in the high 80s, let alone 90s, right? So volume picking back up as well, right? So ultimately a lot to like. And I think the last thing to just say is SoFi knows how to bounce on the 8 like a champion. It lost the 20, but there's a reason why I say this is the first one of the 3 bosses, right? This is the first one and the hard one to break up. This is a hard one to lose down as well, right? And hey, NASDAQ didn't do it. I think that's a good reason why this didn't do it, all right? So I think that's a solid look at SoFi here. I imagine earnings are around the corner. I don't think I saw it in our earnings headquarters screenshot. Nope. So I'm not sure when that is. Keep that in mind. Again, I'm going to just quickly go back to Palantir, all right? I know it was good earnings and consistent good. You can kind of see the spacing, right? Like it starts to pop in like 6-month intervals, almost like it's good earnings after good earnings after good earnings, right? And if SoFi can deliver that, oh man, the charts are close to do some nice things here, all right? Let me know your thoughts. Let me know your opinions, even if you disagree. Let's come into the 2 AI stocks we're going to look at here. Let's take a look at SoundHound and BBAI. I think they might have some similar thoughts, but last time my BBAI thoughts were quick, so I will do a better job of making them equal here, all right? But a lot to like on the SoundHound chart specifically. Look, you hear me say it all the time. It's difficult to break 2 lines up. Everything I say up goes the same way down. It should be hard to lose 2 lines down. And when these 2 just stacked right here, I think more credit really goes to the 50 and kind of echoes what I said at the end of SoFi. I don't know if you caught it or not, but I think NASDAQ not losing the 50 really allowed SoFi to do the same. Again, that's a bad candle, and normally I would say this one is too, but again, these are 2 different red candles, and it's not the same confirmation in my book, you know what I mean? So NASDAQ never actually loses the 50. I think that's what helps SoundHound not lose the 50. From there, you get back over the 8, you're going to go to the 20, green, 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 red, 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 brought us a nice green, green, green. I think the loudest part of the day, take a look in the box over there. The high of the day on SoundHound was $16.54. The close of the day was to the penny exactly the same. People were literally buying and 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 buying, and then finally the market said, hey, get it out of here, we're closed, ding, 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 we're done, come back tomorrow if you want. Clearly I'm seeing some people after hours continue to buy, right? But that's a lovely candle right there, all right? We need one more. I need some confirmation, right? But as it stands right now, it feels like this is going to go to 1820 tomorrow, give or take. Actually, look at that. I was just trying to click here, but 1820 is basically the bottom of this candle right there. Yeah, look at that. It opens at $18.19, right? So that seems like where it should go next. If that was to break, I think it's here. I think it's basically 20 after that. You know what I mean? So MACD and RSI are not quite that same lovely SoFi divergence, right? I like that just a little bit more. They're both doing the same thing. This one's positive, this one's there, but SoundHound, sorry. I will very much say I love a high of the day candle a lot more than a couple other, lower indicators, right? So there's obviously things to focus on and things I'm not, right? But yeah, I at this point, I'm imagining we're going to go there. Otherwise, we might be coming back down to 1520. Right, I would imagine that comes. If we lose 1520, there's actually a legit shot it'll come back down to 1420. So watch that, right? But volume was good today. It actually got us over the 50-day line. That's solid. You can see it's been a struggle to do that, especially the last, 2 full weeks, right? So good volume. I think the last thing to say is, look, NASDAQ wasn't bad today. It wasn't, okay? But we're still seeing Doji after Doji. as opposed to the S&P 500's nice answer to the Doji, and then the Dow Jones's even stronger candle today, right? I think all three still need one more. So end of the day, I think I'm okay with it. But yeah, I'm looking at NASDAQ. If NASDAQ can give us a confirmation candle, it will be hard to stop the others, right? So where are we to this? We're looking for basically, where are we to this? 19,800. That's what we're looking for. Give me 19,800. I'll be happy. Truth be told, the next lovely line is 19,900 and change. I would say that, but again, slow and steady ain't a bad thing when we're talking about the NASDAQ, right? So, Soundhound, I think that's good. Daily thoughts. Where are we on the weekly? Look at that. Weekly is basically saying 1780. What was the daily saying? 18, yeah, between 1780 and 1815. That's basically 18 flat right there, right? So roughly speaking, that's what I'm looking for based on that daily and weekly resistance. If we break both, right, or that single line, we're breaking both last moving averages and going back over on the daily and on the weekly. Weekly also went from a very high 90 back to a very realistic number in the 66 range. Makes me think we can go for a couple weeks back up to the 80s again, all dictated on us basically breaking that 18 line right there. All right, so that's a good view of Soundhound. I'm gonna chapter them together, but look, BBAI, you know, I'm always here calling this one the copycat. All right, and I say that with love. Believe me, the copycat does very well. The one that could follow the leader when the leader is going up, oh, that's a good place to be. All right, I think there's two things that stand out that separate Soundhound. First one is this one's actually still over all five lines, right? I think I'd like just a little bit more, but that's a good candle over them. That's not confirmation, and that's a better candle over them, right? So give me a little bit more. We're actually even, yeah, we wicked that right there, that 470, 450, right? Sorry, 447, 450. But I think if we can get into 460, I would start to call that a real break of this line. And again, why does this line matter? Look at me zoom out. Look at me zoom out. Let's do it. That's the perfect view. Okay. This 430 line has been an absolute killer for this stock since early 2023. Truth be told, in that early 2023, it was only one good candle before we lost that like a hot knife through butter, right? So you actually need to keep zooming out all the way to basically here when again, we just lost it like a hot knife through butter, right? There really was no moment where this was a good line. We never really used it, lost it, and then never really did well with it, right? So this, I would actually argue, since the IPO, this has been a tough 430 line. Obviously, that 430 line means nothing when this thing is a $10 stock. So like, I get that that's kind of a silly statement, but I think visually you get what I'm going for, right? That's a no joke line right there. And I think what I love is that 3 years of silence all of a sudden has become 2 months of just constant attack, going for it, 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 right? Tries but fails, tries no confirmation, tries no confirmation, tries no confirmation, tries, right? You can only, I used to reference an old game. It's called Don't Break the Ice. Maybe Jenga's a little more relevant, but you can only break the ice in the core in like a certain spot so many times before you're going to screw yourself. And that resistance is all of a sudden going to let go, right? Same with Jenga. You can pull from here, pull from here, pull from here. At some point, the resistance that's holding it together is going to break and go, right? You can kind of use the word support right there interchangeably, but you get the point, right? So I like this constant, immediate barrage of attacks. Give me that 460, and all of a sudden you can see my next line's more than $1 up. And why? Red, 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 green, 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 red, 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 nothing, red, 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 nothing, red, red, and then nothing. Like, this is a very, very fast channel right there, and that's actually more than a 25% channel if it hits, right? And then from there, maybe even a little bit more, but for now, that's what we'll look at, okay? I think the other thing to look at down here is volume, okay? Volume, and more specifically, this 50-day line. We've seen it do it before where it goes up, kind of stabilizes, comes back down. This thing is climbing longer than it was the first time. We still haven't fallen off, right? So I'm liking what this 50-day, to me, more people are accumulating and holding based on what I'm seeing here, right? From there, it's obviously lovely to see that the last three trading days, two of them were over the 50-day line, right? So all that happening without a lovely drop the hammer candle from NASDAQ, right? Just give me one more good big one to believe. And oh man, BBAI is over all the moving averages, sprinkle a little bit of SOUN doing well. And oh man, this 430 line might be big history, all right? Again, I see that we are physically over it, right? But again, we've been over it only to fall all the way down to here before, right? So there is a difference between over a line and breaking a line. We're here setting our expectations just a little higher to not get fooled, right? That's always the goal. So I think that's cool thoughts, and I think I did that evenly right there. Let me know your thoughts. Let me know your opinions, even if you disagree. Let's finish it off with KULR here. All right. So I mentioned at the beginning of this video I wasn't looking at this one, so honestly I'm fresh thought. These are fresher than normal, is what I would say. All right. I think the one thing that's a little disappointing to me when I'm looking at KULR is the simple fact that both the NASDAQ, right? Let me just zoom out. You can see it. NASDAQ's over all five. S&P 500 is over all five. KULR just isn't yet. All right. And I think that's a little bit annoying to me because ultimately, look, I'm here with a basic thought in my head. Good things happen over the 8 moving average and bad things happen under it. Okay. And when you see a 3 month climb, right? All of November, all of December, that's only 2 months, my apologies. When you see a very strong 2 month climb, you quickly forget how tough and how evil that line can be when you're on the wrong side of it. You know what I mean? And we've seen it just devastate KULR for years. All right. I'm not implying that's gonna happen, but I'm seeing that right now. I'm seeing I can't get over, can't get over, can't get over. A little bit annoying to me, all right? If we can get over, and look in the box over there, we're on the door right now, right? We closed at 240, the 8 is at 240, right? I like to joke. Imagine if you're in a blizzard and you're at the door of the shelter, but not inside it. Believe me, at the door is cool, but you're gonna freeze and die out there, right? So I like that we're at the 8 and know it generally should be a decent, happy thing. But yeah, unfortunately, I gotta respect a tough line, especially when we've been under it, all right? The main thing I said when I went on my long-term video, if you watch that one, otherwise it actually still reflects here. Look, we still haven't used the 50 moving average, and NASDAQ never lost the 50 moving average, right? It got under it a little bit, but it never lost it. That right there is a red candle, but not a red confirmation bad one, right? KULR still hasn't even touched it yet, right? From there, we're nowhere near our super doji moment, right? Like that string of them right there. So there's still a good amount of support here, and there's still some decent things, but we need to get over this 8, right? That has to happen immediately. Otherwise, that might bring us down to 175. I think that's a little bit of a back pocket worst case number. Otherwise, like I said, we got to break 240 something. Give me just into the 250s even, wouldn't hurt. And all of a sudden, the next place I see us going is 304. You break that 304 and we're going to retest that 366. All right. So I think those are the 1-2 up. We got the 1-2 down. KULR. I saw there was a comment that KULR dropped some PR in the last couple days, maybe sometime last week. I actually didn't see anything, and I think more than anything, the volume here shows even if they did, there hasn't been anything of volume interest in the last 3 weeks. All right, so if they did drop something, I don't think the market really cared much about it. And more than anything, that's really what we're looking for. I don't know if it's going to be the next earnings. I don't know if it's going to be a better PR or what it is, but volume is the issue, right? I'm going to zoom in and just look away from that big volume outlier day. We've been nowhere near the 50-day line, nowhere near it. right? So, and that's been basically a full 2 weeks. So volume needs to pick up quickly. Otherwise, look, you hear me say it, volume is king, volume is queen for the ladies watching. If it's not there, it's hard for a stock to go up, let alone stay horizontal. You know what I mean? So, where are we on the weekly? Weekly is not bad. Look, weekly is obviously under the 8 at the moment. This is a good way to start the week and a decent answer to this doji. Still a lot of week to go. We really need to get over that 260 by Friday. By Friday, I want to be around 265, maybe even 270. Where would 270 put us? Right here, right? No, not quite. 270 would actually be a good place. 270 would put us in the middle. It'll make me believe we've taken the 8. Hopefully it gives us a little bit of momentum and then we can take out the 20 individually. You know what I mean? So 270 by Friday actually wouldn't be that bad. Clearly, like I said, break me some 3 and that's the goal, just even more, right? From there, if we were to lose this 8 moving average, because again, we are under it at 2 moments, this says 130. I think 130 is a bit extreme. I do think that this, oh, that's a 120. Interesting. So that 130 might be realistic because that is the super doji moment. But again, I think that 170 right here will be very, very strong. And I think that 170 does need some respect as well. All right. Let me know your thoughts. Let me know your opinions, even if you disagree. Oh, I appreciate you so, so much.